Hello, true believers. How you doing? This is SNN Street News Now, Six Guys and You. We do this every Thursday, as you are here with us right now, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time, and 6 p.m. West Coast Time, Pacific Time over there. As you know, we do this, we congregate. And when you congregate, make sure you go to our YouTube channel and type in SNN Street News Now. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Catch us on Facebook Live and Twitter and Twitch as I bring forward the masters of intellectual chaos. With no further ado, let's get started with Dr. Ron Ford. How you doing, Doctor?
Welcome to the show.
I hope we don't get popped for any type of Asian racism.
Man, look, I got fortune cookies in the kitchen, man. I'm okay with them.
Well, that's you. We're talking about the show in general, man. I mean, you're going back to Charlie Chan, Doctor. I don't know if we can do that nowadays, man.
Hey, man, I'm just glad to be here, my brother. So anybody that was offended by my comments about also, oh, well, you'll get over it.
Okay, so somebody don't give a damn about somebody else's race.
No, it's not that. It's just because I'm not trying to be offensive, and
you don't call it offensive.
No.
Okay, great. Okay, fantastic.
Look, well, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
So, even though I'm not of Asian descent, so would eating with chopsticks be offensive?
Look, my name is Chris. I ain't involved in this. So we're going to move on to our other brother in broadcasting, Mike Love. You see what he does, man? You know, he's trying to put me in some crap.
I know, I got it. So you are like a egg foo young gravy?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, you want to egg foo young gravy?
Right. Brown rice.
Yeah. Man, you know, I've been craving like a pregnant woman for some sushi.
Really?
And yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you, they got a jalapeno roll that hey DW, the church girl. They have a jalapeno roll that one of the restaurants here serves. And what's up, JoJo? I'm craving it like nobody's business. And I gotta have it. I love it. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. But thank you, Chris, for bringing me in. Hello, Dr. Ron. Good to see you again.
Good evening.
And as always, awesome.
Ooh-wee.
What's
up, Jerry? Say careful now. All 36 chambers.
two times the offense then.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Bye-bye show.
You get out of my kitchen.
Yeah, bye-bye show. It was nice. It was nice doing it. Okay. Ooh-wee. Holy smokes and Jesus as we bring forward Mr. Buck Wow. What's up, Buck?
Hey, you know what? Some of my best friends growing up were Asians. And you know what? They were cool. And let me tell you another thing, too.
Sure.
They love black music.
All right.
They do. I know that for a fact.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I used to, of course, I went to a school that had a lot of Asians, which is practically every school in California. But I used to, I was a campus DJ, of course. So in the dorms freshman year, I used to leave my door open and just mix and light up the whole first floor.
Wow.
And just all of them be like, oh, man. And I was like, what y'all know about this? Oh, this is some hip hop. They're like, oh, man, we love it. They loved me. I was a little celebrity.
Well, can I ask the question of the panel?
Sure.
Didn't we have like Asian celebration month sometime this month?
I wasn't keeping up with it. I don't know.
Pacific Islander is what you're thinking.
There you go.
Pacific Islander. Yeah.
Which you find a lot of in California.
Okay.
Samoans, Hawaiians, Native Hawaiians, you know, not just people born in Hawaii. Samoans. Those are some big MFs, okay?
Yeah.
Now that would be more offensive than my soul.
I don't know. They know they're big. They know they're big.
And they know how to shake that thing too. They shake that thing. Yeah, they know how to shake that thing.
When I was a sophomore, the center of our football team was Samoan. His name was Carlos Horncliffe. That was one big dude that you did not want to be on the field with. He would flatten your ass. I mean, fast. It was like, wow.
Incredible.
Carlos, he died recently too. You know what's crazy? You get to this age where you find out all these people from high school and elementary school and died.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah, that happens when you get old, my brother.
I
does.
guess it does. I've never
Yeah.
been old before.
Because I've
Yeah.
lost at least 4 friends over the last 6 months.
This
Yeah.
is some bullshit. What
Mhm.
happened?
Well, I
What
just
happened?
think people
It's-
get older, and it's how you take care of yourself, and it's God's
Yeah.
time. We don't have any
Yeah.
control over that.
Yeah, it's
That's
called
true.
the facts of life.
Yeah.
You know, we come
Yeah, like
here
like
to
a TV
leave.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we come here to leave. Yeah, when we, just hopefully we'll get a chance to spend enough time here, where we can enjoy our time here before we have to go. Yeah.
The facts of life. Who didn't love Tootie? And Blair. Remember
That's a whole
Blair?
different conversation.
Boy,
my God.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. I mean,
Never
that's a whole
mind.
different conversation. But right now,
Yeah.
as Dr. Ron talked about life in general, let's go to him for his topic.
Thank you, my brother. As always, when I run across injustices in the media or the social media, I like to bring those things to our conversation. I ran across something on social media. You can bring it up. I think I got it in the Slack, Chris. An article that was reposted by Chance the Rapper. And it was put up about a situation. Let me see. I don't know if I can bring it a little closer for you guys. There you go. Alabama's parole board shot down every single case yesterday, and this was on May the 6th, denying relief to all 28 eligible people, including this man, after he served 12 of a 20-year sentence for marijuana possession and distribution. He's at a minimum security work center where they work him for $2 a day. Now, that to me is an injustice that needed to be highlighted and talked about, especially, in the time and the era that we're in now, where marijuana has been decriminalized in many states all across this country. And to keep this man locked up in jail, he served 12 years already. To be sentenced for 20 years is an injustice. And to have served 12 years, and there's 28 people in the same institution, that they were all denied an opportunity for freedom. It is unbelievable. And, Alabama is working these people pretty much on a chain gang. For $2 a day, they're getting paid, to continue the cheap labor, the slave mentality labor, where we can work you, and continue to make money off of your labor. And it's not fair and it's not right. The criminal system is not something that you want to make a career out of, but to be punished by the justice system for 20 years for what's pretty much commonplace now. The opportunity to decriminalize marijuana in this country has passed the House several times, but has not been called for a vote because they know it's going to be shot down. They don't have enough votes to get past the filibuster to make it illegal on the federal level. So, every chance I run across an injustice or a breakdown in the, justice system, I feel like, we need to talk about these things. I need to bring it up and let people know that there are people suffering in jail because of an unjust system, and I think the more we talk about it, the more the opportunity for people to know what's going on. And Chris said this many, episodes ago, there is no fairness in the justice system, and I have to agree with them wholeheartedly, 110%. We've all had family members and even personally have fall prey to the justice system on either on a small level or a large level, so we understand how brutal and how cruel the justice system can be, and some people are still suffering from the cruelness of this justice system, and especially if you are Black, brown, African American, Negro, whatever you go by this week, these things are still, an atrocity. Yes, sir, Buck.
And I am not going to disagree with you there.
Uh-oh.
But I have a question. I have a question though.
Yes, sir.
Most states that legalize marijuana didn't go back and make and free all the people that were convicted of marijuana crimes. Am I correct on that?
Wrong. In Illinois, and I can only speak to Illinois, and most.
But that's Illinois is one state out of a lot of them.
No. But they followed the procedure that was, other states that had legalized it. They had, when they decriminalized it, they released and cleaned the records of all people that have been arrested and convicted of marijuana charges. So,
okay,
so
that's good. That's good. I don't know, but you know what though, Ron? I could be wrong. But if my memory serves, and it fails me a lot, I don't think they did that with a lot of states, because the saying was, if it was illegal when you did it, you still committed a crime.
Well, but see, when marijuana, and I know Illinois used the example of other states that had done it. So to be able to say every state that has followed that example, I'm not sure of, but they took the example because it was mandatory for the legislators. It was important, I should say, to the legislators when they decriminalized it. All of the Black people that were in jail, and not just Black, but there were, multiple races, there were people that were in jail, they released them. And then they allowed the opportunity to clean their record. That was written in the legislature when they passed it. So I know they got that. I know they got that from other states.
Well, what's really an injustice is, and I remember somebody here in Georgia talking about it, that in a certain period of time, I can't remember how long ago it was, but if you were caught with, say, a gram of cocaine, it would be one light BS sentence, right? But if you got caught with the same amount of crack, then if they throw the book at you, it was like a mandatory year, at least a mandatory year in jail. And they were just talking about Georgia. And it's just like, what's the difference?
Well, that goes back to the Reagan administration. When Reagan announced the war on drugs, they declared that crack was a far more epidemic and a far more atrocity than just regular powder cocaine. So there were people that were served in federal institutions that were serving 30, 40, 50-year sentences because of they had possession of crack with the intent to distribute, or possession of crack, period. And then a person who had cocaine might have did 5 years, like you just mentioned. So, when the war on drugs came out, they declared that this was going to be an epidemic, which they were right, but they also didn't say at that time that it was our government that, introduced crack cocaine into our communities. Now, they didn't tell us that at the time that they were announcing this war on drugs. At the same time, and don't ask me how I know all this stuff. At the same time, marijuana, Reagan also sprayed paraquat, which was a
you talk about that a lot. Yeah.
Which was a plant killing herbicide or whatever. Pesticide, right. Yeah. Pesticide. And they sprayed it on all the weed over in Mexico. And then mysteriously, we had crack in the hood.
But you know, Mexico's a big country. I don't know how they would have gotten to all of the weed in Mexico, but you know, that's sort of the story goes. But it's just, it's really, I mean, crazy to think about that whole crack epidemic and cocaine thing and the inequities. It's just like, now again, I don't know. What I do know is that I have a friend who was strung out, and he's told me, because it's the only way I would know, because crack scares the hell out of me, that crack is nothing but like a what do they call it? What did they used to call it back in the day, Chris? Was it freebasing? I think they called it.
Yeah.
Like basically, it was already rocked up freebased cocaine.
Right.
Is that true? I don't know.
Absolutely. You know, when you take
So how did that get
cocaine-
introduced? I don't know. So explain what you were just saying about how the government introduced freebased cocaine.
Well,
I don't
no.
get that. I don't understand.
Okay, the history of how things went down. Freebasing was generally a European thing. You know, black folks wasn't really into it. We might snort a little bit, but we wasn't really into, you know, trying to get into, you know, doing the freebase thing. So it's terminology. Freebasing, what you are smoking is a powdered cocaine that has been turned into, you know, almost back to the oil form in which it was originally grown. Because, you know, coca leaves are a plant, and you process them, and, you know, you put other stuff in it, you know, then you add other stuff to it to ship it into this country. Back in whatever era that was, in the I want to say the 80s, early 80s, they used to do documentaries on the Indians down in South America who used to plant that stuff and process it and turn it into coke. Okay. And then they would ship it to America with the intention of trying to get back at the Europeans that had destroyed the world. True story. If you go on public television, these are things that they said, you know, and then they also would say the black man jumped in the way. Okay, for some reason we wound up being their best customers.
Is that what happened?
Okay, I'm just regurgitating the documentary that took place, you know, back in that era. So, you know, it's terminology. You know, freebasing and the actual crack, they call it cracking up, you know, making it an element that they can put in a pipe and smoke, because that's what freebasing was, putting something in a pipe and smoking it. Okay, so that's just terminology. So when they said, okay, we got enough black people doing this now, then we can throw the book at them. And that's pretty much what they started to do. Okay. He said white folks ruin everything, indigenous people would eat the leaves. That's right.
Yeah.
And it did not have the effect. If you were to take coca leaves and just eat the coca leaves, it would not have the same effect on you as it would.
But it probably gave him a buzz.
No, actually not. From what I understand, because, you know, I studied those documentaries, because I was like, man, I'm gonna turn into a plantation owner and have me a whole bunch of coca leaves. I'm gonna grow them instead of cotton.
Right.
You know, but the problem was I could never get coca leaves that were not dried out. You know, because coca leaves have a very high concentration of oil in them, and they used to use acetones in order to pull the oil out of the leaves themselves.
Where would you get the leaves from?
Can I tell you that?
Oh.
Okay.
No,
well,
actually, I can tell you that. Hold on, but let me explain, because Mike asked a question. I used to work in the convention industry in New Orleans, and I used to work a lot of the, you know, all the medical societies that would come through there on conventions. So I'm sitting in a convention one day, and I'm listening to them describe how a case study that they did. They had patients that would come in and they would be so geeked up, wired up, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with them. So they broke it down and isolated it down to this brand of tea. This brand of tea was straight coca leaves.
Wow.
I went out that day to every health food
Trying to
store.
find them.
No, not
Y'all got
that.
coca leaf. Y'all got coca
I
leaf.
bought every box of that brand of coca leaves that was on the market in New Orleans at that time.
And what
So
were the results?
Well, because it
He
didn't.
said, I
it
don't
was
remember.
no. Because it was dried leaves to make the tea. The oil content was not in it that was needed to process into a,
So you didn't get high.
we got a little buzz.
Okay, you got
but
a buzz, but you didn't get
Yeah,
high.
because we were smoking it. We rolled it like a joint and smoke it.
Okay.
I mean, had all this damn tea, I had to do something with it. So, but that's how I know that the leaves cannot be dried. They have to be full of the original oil that they were grown in South America. Go ahead, brother.
So we're talking about the past and the
Yes.
whole nine. What do you guys think about this whole fentanyl thing?
Oh man, it's crazy.
Out of
That-
control.
I mean, it's gotten me like, I'm just like, I'm puzzled why it's in all these different drugs and it's killing all these people. It's like, wow, who would put it in the drugs? I mean, just so little of it can kill your customer. You kill a customer, you've lost money. That's stupid.
You ever heard the term use only as directed?
Yeah, I'm just.
And that's where the problem comes into play, because there are other purposes for a lot of drugs that are out there habitual to us. But if you don't use them as directed, then you end up with a habit or a problem that you can't control.
Yeah, but fentanyl's elephant tranquilizer. How would a human use that?
Now, that's a good question, because I've never done it. But I mean, I guess, I think when it comes to drug use, and we have to be honest, I don't know who all on the table. I've done drugs before, but it's like a pain. It's like a pain. No, I haven't done that. But everybody does drugs for pain relief of some sort. Mental pain, physical pain, whatever the case may be. You're trying to get to a level. It's not, I think when you say getting high, and it puts you in a state of mind that, like, man, I feel good.
I'm about to say, I did it just for enjoyment.
Right. Well, but that's what I'm saying. The same thing. Now, at some point, there's an overindulgence that happens, because with anything, people get greedy.
I did that.
I mean, you do that with food. Not you personally, I'm saying, but people do that with food.
I do that.
Yeah.
And with this stuff right here.
Yeah.
114 proof. 120 proof, sorry.
Okay. And I ain't mad at you. But once again, I think that we spend a lot of time numbing ourselves to take away the pain of, not having enough money to live on, issues in relationships, whatever the case may be. We're looking for that numbing effect. And 90% of the time it gets because you just can't get enough.
Yeah. And the thing about the fentanyl is dangerous to the touch. There have been people cutting, cocaine with it, heroin with it. And, their purpose is to try and get an intensity or to intensify whatever product that they're coming in contact with. Now, there used to be like baby laxative, B12. Those were, things that were used to, to stretch your product to make more money out of it. So if they come in contact with something like fentanyl, and they feel like they have cut it enough to be able to put it on their product, their intention is not to kill their customers. It's trying to stretch that product far enough to make double the money.
I get that.
And if the person, the end user, gets a somewhat of a higher high out of it, I'm going back and get some more. But I remember several cases, and speaking of the criminal justice system and how they deal with it, if you are a person that can be traced back to fentanyl, it's an automatic life sentence.
Wow.
Yes, automatic. So if you just selling fentanyl and ain't even got none of those other dangerous drugs affiliated with it,
You're
that's
out
life.
here.
That's
Yeah,
life.
yeah, life.
I saw on TV. Of course, it wasn't a reality show. I mean, it was fictional, but they had these fentanyl strips. So you would take sort of like those. Remember those mint strips, for your breath.
Yeah.
They had them like those, but they would have fentanyl in them, and you put it like in the bottom of your teeth. And I'm like, who in the F would do something stupid like that?
Well, people don't know what's in it, what they're being cut with,
Right.
what their drug of choice is being cut with. But also,
No, but I mean, these were fentanyl strips. They knew
yeah,
exactly, and of course, it was fictional. So I mean, I don't know if this is like
yeah,
real life or whatever. But
yeah,
I was
because
like, who
to the
would do that?
touch, I have been told, and thank God I ain't never had no experiences. I have been told to handle this stuff is instantly death. It's going to kill you
Yeah, you got to have
because
gloves on.
because it's just that deadly. And I can remember we had an epidemic on the west side of Chicago that was truly an epidemic. Um, People that have heroin addicts, that's a physical addiction for those that don't know. Your body craves it. You got to have it,
Yeah.
every moment, because once you take some heroin, you're going to sleep. But when you wake up, you want some more. It's an addiction that, is very, very physical.
So we saw
So,
Ray.
yeah,
That was a good scene right there when he was getting off it.
yeah. So, when the west side of Chicago, they had a dealer within a block, and they had 10 people that had got it from the same dealer. All 10 people died within that block.
Wow.
They didn't even make it out of the block.
And that was because of their direct exposure to it.
Yes. And it was so crazy. It's just like, and most people with rational understanding would say, if I saw one junkie over there dead, ain't no way in hell I'm gonna be trying to get what he had. Oh, I want some of that. Ain't no way in hell. But when people have addictions, they're not thinking rational.
Apparently
As,
not.
and the one thing about the fentanyl, they have been not only adding it to heroin, they've been adding it to cocaine, to crack. They just, anything, meth. I've heard situations where people have had it in meth labs. So it's a life that I think a person who has been in that life, you know,
Would you say
they
who's
just
been an addict?
well, I would just say people that that have been extreme and that have not been able to find their way out of there, that maybe death is an escape. Maybe death is an option that they look forward to and embrace,
But
I mean, I could see if it were just like the best high that you've ever had, or this sort of promise of the best high that you've ever had, or something that would make you want to do it. But I mean, knowing good and well that you are going to probably die, that's enough incentive to make me just not want to do it. But
yeah.
but I think with certain people over time, you look for the next high, and your vices,
Yeah.
you challenge the vice that you have. Like for example, my vice in college was drinking. I didn't smoke, I just drank. So you hang out with people who are like-minded and drank. Now you other people who smoke weed, that was their thing, or people who did cocaine. I'll give you an example. So, you were back in college and you had your core group of people you hang out with, say on a Friday night, and somebody comes over, look, man, this is one of my boys from biology. Can he come hang out with us? All right, cool. I know the guy from a can of paint. So we go out, and I'm standing next to him. We're getting some shots of tequila. So he gets tequila, the salt, and the lime. So I got this shot of tequila, salt, and lime. So then the guy next to me, this new guy that was hanging out with him, started coughing. I was like, what's up with you, bro? Man, I'm sorry. I snorted the salt. I'm what the hell you snort the salt for, man? I'm trying to break my cocaine habit.
Mm.
Now, I laughed my ass off. I was sitting here in front. It was the funniest thing I ever said. Look, let's do it again, and I'll help you this time to make sure you don't snort the salt. Because he done cocaine so much, I'm telling you, I was kidding around with, look, man, don't do that with the salt, man. Put the salt in your mouth and go forward. But the fact remains that he was, I'm telling you, he was maybe at the time 4 months removed from doing cocaine. He tried to stop cold turkey. But out of habit, this dude is snorting salt, at the club. So when everybody got these different vices that they had to go through, I'm telling you, I wish I would have saw it. My back was turned. I wish I would have saw it. That was funny as hell. But my point is, he was that far removed out of habit just to do what he did. So you got to figure people who try to continue the high or continue to will graduate from one vice to another because looking for the ultimate high. You have people who strangle themselves, asphyxiation while they do cocaine and stuff like that. Exactly. Yeah. Whatever it is to create.
What was that, Ron? What was that again?
Yeah, cut yourself. There are people that have the addiction of cutting and bleeding. They sit there and watch themselves bleed out.
Exactly. So whatever the asphyxiation or the high or the next level thing, they're trying to achieve it. And what happens, unfortunately, as we know, is end up in death. Because that's pretty much where you're going towards. You probably don't think you're going towards death, but you're going towards the Grim Reaper if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking one time, I was like, why would anybody do anything else when there is some really good weed and alcohol together?
Yeah.
What's the point?
It's called chasing ghosts.
Yeah.
You never get to that point where you're satisfied.
Mm-hmm. I was always satisfied. Some really good, maybe because I got some really good weed. That's another thing. Maybe if you had really trashy weed and some bullshit alcohol, maybe that, I don't know. But I just never thought, I was like, this is the best ever. I don't need anything else. Cocaine always scared me. And I surely wouldn't go shoot nothing in my arm. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I've never had anything where I wanted to, in fact, myself testosterone and B12 shots on a weekly basis. And they were going to charge me at the doctor's office $20 to do it. And they said, well, you could do it yourself. And I do it. I mean, I got the syringes. I have the medication.
For testosterone, you said?
Yeah, testosterone. Because I had a deficiency in it. And so
okay, I can see that.
They felt like just giving me the pills wasn't going to get the job done. And so they said, you've got to take it, based on a syringe and the 1 millimeter bottles or whatever. And I mean, I've gotten accustomed to doing it and that's it, but it's medical for me.
What about people who have to do insulin?
Yeah, insulin, and that's hard, man. I feel bad for those people who.
I had a couple aunts who had to take the insulin every day.
Yeah.
I was like, how can you do that? I was a kid, of course.
Because they want to live.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, the end game is if you want to live, the doctor puts it in front of you and says, "Hey, you can do it. We can charge you to do it." But once again,
on a quick note. Do you know how much the insulin is that much more here than it is in other countries?
No.
Oh my goodness. It's like 10 times, literally 10 times the price here in the States than it is, say, even in Canada.
Yep, that's true.
It is, I mean, they rape Americans. I mean, with a lot of drugs, but I mean, insulin, I mean, that's like such an important life-saving drug.
But think about this for a minute. I want you to think about something for a minute. It can be suppressed when you think about the things that you absorb in your body. Just, like I said, just sweets, that you reach diabetes, like Katrina's saying diabetes. I've never had the Popeyes chicken sandwich. There are foods out here that I'd never eat because I know the end result. And so the thing of it is, if I'm going to put myself in a situation that's going to suppress my body, then I'd rather walk away from it than to be hooked on it. And and that's what I'm keeping it very low when I'm talking about that, but I'm talking about weight gain. People who eat fatty foods and their bodies are subject to taking this fat and storing it. See, our bodies are so small. That's the part that we really don't understand, how smart our bodies are. Think about how fast, if you were to cut yourself right now with a razor blade, your body would immediately try to heal itself with the blood
the
clot.
platelets, yeah.
Yeah, with the platelets, and you would get a blood clot. And so the thing of it is, we don't understand that the body really doesn't need you to repair itself unless it's something that's so intense that you would bleed out. But when you go out and you don't ask questions, I went to Smoothie King today. I hadn't been a smoothie, oh my God, probably for 4 or 5 years. And so when I rolled in there and they ask you what you want, I told her, I said, I just want something that has chocolate in it. So, they got 3 different sizes, a 20 ounce, a 40 ounce, and a 60 ounce or something like that. The 20 ounce was like 200 calories. The 40 ounce was 500 calories. And I don't even know how many calories the 60 ounce was. But I was okay with just tasting it. I just wanted a smoothie. I just wanted to, and it's all about mind control. But, weak just as human beings. And so the thing of it is, when you roll into these places and you start eating these foods, they're the same as drug abuse if you don't have control.
A lot of it is habit too. A lot of people do these things over and over again out of habit, and they just get used to doing it. They get used to eating bad. Like, for example, I love chicken wings. Okay? I can eat chicken wings like 5-7 days a week if I choose to. But you know what? I go to the grocery store and I'll get there's this grocery store here called Publix. Mm-hmm. They have the best fried chicken wings ever.
So you get them already prepared.
Right. And I'll get 10 of them and I'll take them home. I'll eat 2 at a time for, 5 days.
Okay.
And after they're gone and I won't have any for another 3 weeks.
That's a lot of self-control. I congratulate you on that, because that's what it actually takes.
I've actually gotten to that point. I've gotten to that point.
Craving it, but you have to be able to control it. So when she said, well, do you want the small or the medium? And the first thing I asked her was, I said, how many calories is in? So she said 200 in the 20 ounce and 500 calories in the 40 ounce.
Yeah, forget the 500.
Right, forget the 500. That's exactly it. I'm like,
bitch. Right.
And it wasn't her. I mean, she's just selling the product. But once again, fast. All these things that are out here, we have to have a level of control. It's okay to taste it. It's okay to crave it.
Now,
but you have to have control.
I wish I had control when I go to the liquor store. Instead of getting the 5th, if I get the 5th, because the 5th is on the shelf, it's where the 5ths are. If you want to try to get like a pint, that stuff's behind the counter, and you gotta okay, I don't know what I want, blah 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 blah. So you get the 5th, and eventually the 5th runs out, and then I won't get anything for another couple of weeks. But still,
but Jed said on here, look at this comment. He says, "Yeah, it totally sucks to have self-control, but it feels better later." Well, actually, it doesn't feel better later. It feels better now. You pay later.
You pay, yeah. But yeah, I'll do stuff that I know is terrible for me. Like today, I went to the grocery store today after I went to the liquor store because it's right next to each other.
Yeah.
And I got some cookies. I love chocolate chip cookies, but I hate the chips. I just want the cookie without the chip. Yeah, I used to make them when I was young. But anyway, so they've got these cookies now that have, instead of chocolate chips, they have Heath bar bits in them.
Yeah. Costco's got that, man. I get that Heath bar.
Boy.
Oh my God.
So I get one thing of it. I think it's maybe 12 count.
What's the serving size on the pack?
I have no idea because I'll eat.
That's where you're making a mistake.
Watch this. I'll eat a few of them that day. and then I'll throw them bitches away because I know that if I don't, I will eat the whole package and I'll be mad at myself.
Well, when I had 2 stents put in back in 2001, and I
What?
went to cardiac rehabilitation,
You
I
had
had
2
2
stents?
I had 2 and
You
so
had a
the
heart attack? Get the
No, I never had the heart attack. I just had high blood pressure. My blood pressure was 160 over 100.
So you had
And
blockages. You had
yes,
blockages.
because the same plaque that you get on your teeth, you get on your vessels, okay?
Right.
And the doctors closed, it would have given me a heart attack. And the second
So this
one,
was preventative, is that what you're saying?
exactly. The second one's called the Widowmaker. It would have taken me out. Okay. And the first thing that they tell you is the serving size on packages isn't there because they couldn't find any other reason to print it. It's actually a control factor, excuse me, for you to look at. If you can stick to the serving size, you can eat it every day, and it probably would have less harm. But if you just reach in the bag and just grab a handful, or you sit here like, "Ooh, that was good. Let me go get another one." You have to. The discipline is the key to survival.
Like getting a bag of potato chips. We've all done this, right? Lee loves potato chips, right? So you get a bag of potato chips. You sit there with the whole bag right in front of your face. You know what's going to happen. You're going to finish that bag. So you know what you do? You take a handful. You put it in like a cup. This is what I do. Put it in like a cup. Put the bag back, and you just eat whatever's in the cup, and you're done.
No, you go to the serving size. It will tell you that it'll tell you what the
how
serving.
many chips? Right.
Yeah, it'll say 5 chips. You got to train yourself to go in and get 5 chips and walk the F away.
Right. But see, I've done, and that's great advice, Mike. But what I'll end up doing is I'll indulge for like a day, and then I'll throw it away.
Okay.
And I throw it away, and I'm done with it for another couple weeks until I get a craving again, and then I'll do it again, but it'll be a month or two later.
Yeah. Well, let's go to what Katrina said. Go back to that one, Chris. She said my weakness was the popcorn. What is
Salt.
that? Morenos? Right.
Mariano's.
Mariano's. Okay. Once again, find out, Katrina, what is the serving size
and how much sodium is in there. But goodness, we're talking about food. So I recently had a craving for what did I have? I had it last time we were on. V8 juice, right?
Okay.
So, V8 juice got a lot of sodium in it. A friend of mine was like, "Oh, you better throw that shit away because there's a lot of sodium in V8 juice." A lot of sodium,
salt content.
Right. But so I started getting the low sodium stuff, right? And I put a little vinegar in it, some apple cider vinegar, and maybe a cap full of hot sauce, right? Durkee Red Hot, Pete's Red Hot, Frank's Red Hot. But turns out there was a study done that there's something else in V8 juice that somehow counteracts the effects of the sodium, so you can do the high sodium V8 juice and still be okay. It still lowers your blood pressure. Blew me away. But I still get the low sodium just because.
Yes. Now, Deacon Doc says your palm is a serving size. A lot of foods out there. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm a fanatic for chocolate-covered almonds. And basically, you're right. It says you're only supposed to do 11. And if I use my palm, normally I'll go back. I'll have somewhere between 9 and 11. It's better to read the package and be safe.
Your
people don't read.
Yeah. Well, let me jump in here. It's interesting that we went from one addiction to another addiction to another addiction. So we started out talking about drug addictions and the dangers of that, to winding up talking about food addictions and the dangers of that. But to the human body, abuse of anything can be deadly. Is a deadly, formula for disaster.
Exactly.
So sometimes, you know, we may be caught up in something, just like we have our food favorites. Sometimes people that suffer from, you know, drug addictions, they're caught up in something that they're not even aware of the
Yeah.
deadly effects of it. And I just wanted to go full circle with the conversation because, you know, whatever people are struggling with, you know, they don't realize that it's just that can be deadly for them. You know, one of the things that I had to tell myself when I was a young man and I was strung out on crack,
Right.
is that if I ever take another hit, it'll be the last thing I ever do in this lifetime. So, you know, when you're addicted and you have an addictive nature, you have to be on your guard 24/7. You cannot say, oh, well, I'm just going to do one for the good old days. No.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you have to constantly be on your guard and
Yeah.
tell yourself whatever you have to do in order to be able to stay on this side of life.
Absolutely.
But
Okay.
bro, you know what? The worst part about being heavy and having to watch what you eat, you can't stop eating.
Well,
you
have
can
to
if you
tell
want to. You don't
Yeah.
want to.
No,
stop.
I'm saying
to
you can't
tell
just cut food out.
yourself-
You can't cut food out of your life completely. You can
Well,
cut
it's
crack
not about
out.
stop. That right now, you're right. You have to eat, but it's
You
in
have to eat.
portions and it's regulated. Go back to Chris. Was it Katrina that said water? I'm not sure if it was her or yes. Water helps you. That tells your body that you're full. But where I want to
Yeah.
go with this water situation, see, a lot of people are afraid to go to the bathroom. The bathroom is your best friend
I've never heard. Why you say that?
because you get a chance to release all of those.
No, I'm saying why
different-
you said people are afraid to go to the bathroom. I don't understand.
You know,
It's
it's just
true.
like, well, I
That's a
got to go to
true-
the.
That's a true statement.
I've never
Yeah.
heard that before.
Well, I got to go to the bathroom, but I'm watching my favorite TV show, so I don't want to get up right now. Put the pause button on.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
Two
and-
things that if
and-
I don't do these two things throughout and not all day, when I wake up in the morning, I have a cup of coffee and I'm looking for a bowel movement. I'm either going to enhance it or I'm going to respect it and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm out in the car driving Uber and Lyft, and all of a sudden it'll hit me because I'm drinking coffee and I got juice in the car. Because I don't stop at fast food services unless I just don't have anything. The moment I have to urinate, I don't give a damn what I got to do. I'm going to do it. And it's been that I almost just pulled over in a park and just went because at the age of 64, I can barely hold it. When I got to go, I get like
You gotta
2,
go.
maybe 3 warnings.
Ron said, "I'm going right now."
Yeah, look, you
Yeah.
gotta go, you gotta go.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
Yes,
But
sir.
that is the best thing. Don't be afraid to have a bowel. Do not be afraid to urinate.
So I have
It's
a
the
question.
Best thing that has.
I'm sorry, real quick. I'm sorry. I had to jump in real quick because Mike, you know, will freeze sometimes. And all I heard was, don't be afraid to have a bowel. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Okay, now, well, if I have to get down to it, if you got a shit, you need to go take a shit.
There you go.
If you got,
Okay.
if you
You
got
You didn't
pee,
freeze up then.
Yeah, you didn't freeze up that time.
okay,
You didn't
let's
get no
break
slip.
through it.
Look,
Because I mean, people.
before you go, Buck, let me just say this. What Mike
Oh.
said is so true. Most human beings are dehydrated and constipated. Those are
My
conditions,
mom is. My mom
you
is
know,
a
that
lot, yeah.
most human beings, and it comes from, you know, not getting regular in their life. Water flushes out all the organs in your
Yes.
body. Going to the
Yeah.
bathroom, taking a shit, like Mike says,
Help.
it cleans out your sewer system
Yes.
in your body. So those are two things that are very important for optimum health. Now you can go with what you were gonna go with, Buck.
Okay. Okay. So since we're talking about health, what are your feelings on this whole attention to mental health.
We
And
need mental
these
health.
people are shooting things up, going in with guns, and like the Buffalo situation. It's like, oh goodness.
Well, we're
It's
going
like-
to that in a minute. Once Ron wraps up what he's talking about, we've already kind of backstage set up, and so we're getting ready to talk about that because I got something I want to share with the audience.
So in conclusion, the justice system, has abused and misused so many people that people are still suffering from the misuse of the justice system. And I'm going to keep waving that banner and that flag. Wake up, people. Wake up. We cannot afford to allow the system to keep on misusing Black people, African Americans, whatever you go by this week. You have to speak up, you have to get out there and vote, and let's do something different to correct the broken justice system. And with that being said, I throw it back to my brother, Chris Bass.
Oh, well, thank you very much, man. We got into a lot of stuff, relieving yourself and
Yeah,
going
we were
to the
getting all over the
bathroom.
place, wasn't we?
Well, yes. Yes, Lord, yes. I
Don't
mean,
be
it's hard to
afraid to
jump.
take a shit.
It's hard to
If you
jump.
got
It's
to
hard to
shit,
jump when we talk about
shit.
shitting.
Yeah, we were shitting all over the place. Yes,
You
Yeah,
shit
we
all
can't
over
have
the
that.
place. If you got the PP,
Yes, of course.
don't let nobody make you feel bad when you got to go pee or
Yes,
you got to do.
yes.
Okay. Ooh, wee.
You guys are so
You can't even
juvenile.
segue from that. I'm just going to start. You can't segue from that.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's impossible. So there's a scene from the movie Ray, because ironically, Buck much about the movie Ray. So there's a scene in the movie Ray where Ray's on the Chitlin Circuit bus and he's talking to Jeff, who was
Did
the
you say
driver.
Chitlin Circus?
No, you said that because you still got shit on the brain about talking about taking the shit. Chitlin Circus.
Oh, Chitlin. I thought you said
Chitlin.
Chitlin Circus.
No, you want to take a shit. That's the reason why you talk about Chitlin. Well, you a crazy man.
I done shit twice today. I'm good.
I'm glad. Thank you. So on the Chitlin Circuit, in the scene, Ray's on the back of the bus. He's talking to Jeff, who's the driver, and Jeff had talked about being in the war and how he had to do things to survive. And he made the statement, seeing that much death ain't natural.
Right.
I remember that.
So let's go over what's happened this past weekend with all these shootings. For example, here in Chicago, there was a teen charged in the murder of a 16-year-old in Chicago Millennium Park. This was on Saturday. 2 dead, 3 hurt in a shooting at a Houston flea market. Then when we go to California, 68-year-old David Chow was arrested for shooting 6 people at the Irvine Taiwanese Presbyterian Church in Laguna Woods there in California. 5 people were injured. Dr. John Chang was killed. He drove 5 hours because he had a political grudge between the countries of China and Taiwan. The pastor and his wife helped take down the shooter at that time. And of course, the crime that has dominated the news about what happened in Buffalo, New York, at a supermarket shooting. Here's the latest on that. Peyton Genron, 18 years old, charged with first-degree murder for killing 10 people Saturday in the Jefferson Avenue mass shooting, was voted by a grand jury Wednesday to be indicted on his charge. Prosecutor Gary W. Hackenbush, chief of Erie County Homicide Bureau, said this morning. As a result, the need for the scheduled felony hearing was alleviated and the court was adjourned. The suspect was escorted out of the courtroom by Erie County Sheriff's deputies without saying a word. As the suspect exited, a victim's family member is in attendance and shouted, "Peyton, you're a coward." The suspect did not turn his head toward the speaker. So we found out now that Genron pleaded not guilty. He's a white supremacist. He had a 180-page manifesto. Currently he's on suicide watch. He'll be back in court on June 9th, and of course he unfortunately had streamed the murders. This unfortunately will not get any better. It's going to get worse. And my years of covering these type of stories, it just increasingly gets, unfortunately, no direction. When we talk about racism, as we all know, it's institutionalized, it's taught in homes, it's your background, or you can come from a racist background and not be racist, or you subscribe to the philosophy and you become a racist, whether you subscribe to it inside a home or outside when you go out and say it's college or the workplace or wherever. And what's also beyond sad about this is the future that I think about when it comes down to this. My grandson Emery will be 1 year old this next month in June. And I thought about his future, jotting these stories down. And I don't like what I see. I feel sorry for him because we've been battling racism since the beginning of time itself, and especially institutionalized racism, because let's state the facts. It's about Ray Charles. He can see this in the state he's in right now. If Ron was black, lights out. Lights out. It could have been a shot to the head, a shot to the body, or anything along those lines. It's because when it goes back to what Dr. Ron was saying about justice or injustice, it's never for us. It was never for us. So why should at times when we think about it getting better, it's only going to get worse. It has gotten worse now and it'll get worse then. Think about the fact that you have other people out there who look at Ron and look at him as a hero, that he's doing the right thing, that he inspires other racist people to come forward and go shoot other people. Because as we know, a few years back, where someone went to, again, premeditated murder, to go to a church to purposely shoot out black parishioners, and on the way home, they stop by giving him a Happy Meal. The police does. You're rewarding evil behavior. And so when this happens, it bothers me because evil is alive and well. Evil never went anywhere since the beginning of time itself, like I said before, early in the conversation just now. It bothers me because there's no end in sight when you had this racist mentality sprinkled and just dominate the whole system. Whenever you're a person that is in power, you divvy out the privileges. That's been a fact of life. So when it comes down to this, it is more than upsetting. Once again, I think about my grandson's future. I think about the future of other younger people coming up in this country. We have to tell them what's out there before they even step foot outside to go outside publicly. My dad had a conversation with me. Look, when you go into the store, they're going to look at you, they're going to follow you down the aisle because they think you'll steal something. Dad, I don't steal. I know you don't, but they think you do. You have to know your surroundings. We got to tell our people this. Tell our children. Tell everybody around you, because you have to know your surroundings in order for you to comport yourself. It's a matter of trying to let us know the evil that's out there. And go back to the whole thing I said earlier in the conversation. When people are around dead people being shot or you survived, seeing that much death ain't natural.
But you know, about your grandson, now, there's just no getting around it being a tragedy, and things are getting bad and will probably continue to get worse. But you know what, though, Chris? I tend to have a little bit more of a positive outlook on the future.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as time goes on, that we, well, not necessarily us, but your grandson and his peers, they'll adapt. I think, I'm not saying things will get better, but I think that they will adapt. And I don't think that it will be as traumatic as it is for us right now, having to deal with these changes, because we're going through this dramatic change that he will be used to. You know, I'm a little bit more optimistic about the future for young people.
No, I
I think they'll
appreciate that. I
adapt.
mean, it's
Yeah.
Buck. I deeply appreciate that because I don't want to think that way. I've gone through it over and over in my cranium, and the stories I read, the people I talk to, it's just beyond upsetting. Now, do I want it to be that way? No. But again, we have people in power who are racist, who keep on pushing out this evil to others that are, whether it's at the home or institutionalized. Fighting racism is the never ending battle to me. And we just had to be prepared for battle.
But think about how bad it was, how bad our parents had it,
Sure.
going through the civil rights movement and all the civil unrest and the turmoil and all the racism they had to deal with. And we didn't really have to do that. Times changed. Um, we didn't have to really go through that sort of thing. You and I are about the same age. We didn't have to go through that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think it goes through cycles. I don't think you really have to be worried about your grandkids. I think that they will adapt. Or something will happen, something will come along that will change people's way of thinking, at least for a short time. I don't know what that'll be,
Mm-hmm.
but it could be something. I don't know what it'd be. In Star Trek, I'm a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
In Star Trek, it's us being visited by aliens, and making the world realize, oh, we're not alone in the universe. We need to put all of our differences aside, and we need to come together and stop bickering over little bullshit, because there we could get invaded for real and be made all slaves. Now, and this is going to be a real quick one, because it's going to sound like it's a long one, but it's not. I read an article the other day about a scientist who said that we're going to get invaded by aliens. And he said the aliens, though, are not going to be from outer space. They're going to be from right here. It's going to be artificial intelligence. And this artificial intelligence is going to get to be where it's smarter than humans. And we look at science fiction, and science fiction always depicts them, artificial intelligence, as having some sort of human characteristics and a care about humanity and all that BS.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that more than likely they're not, and they're going to want to eliminate us. But point being is that it could be something. And I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if any of you saw that, but I just think that something could come along to change the way we see things, at least for a short time. That's just tend to be more optimistic about that sort of thing. Me.
Well, I'm a little bit more of a realist. I think your grandchild and my grandchildren are definitely have something to be concerned about. When you look at the reality of what's going on, and I'm going to use a scenario very similar, an incident. There was a young man, black man, African American, whatever you go by this week, that went into a bank in Romeoville, Illinois, and he was having a mental crisis. He explained to the clerks that I'm not here to kill anybody, I'm not here to steal anything. I'm just here to die by suicide by police. He allowed the ladies that were in the bank to call home and reassure them, and to, comfort them as much as he possibly could. And he explained to them while they were in there together that has not been a good day for me, and I'm just tired of going through what I'm going through mentally. Okay. He never raised a gun to them. He never implied any hurt, harm, or danger towards them. When the SWAT team negotiator came on the scene, and they instructed him to send out the hostages, he allowed them to go out the building with no problem, no hesitation, no nothing. Then when they instructed him to exit the building, a SWAT sniper killed him dead. Now, when you look at, what this young man did in Buffalo, He showed up in the parking lot attacking and killing people that Black, African American, whatever you go by. Instantly, he showed up on the scene with the explicit purpose of killing people. And he did just that. And when they took him out of there on national television, he was handcuffed and he was not on a stretcher. Now, this man killed people. This other Black man killed no one, but he wound up dead. So I said that to say that they don't view any of the things that are going on in either scenario as being wrong because it was only Black people who died. Okay. So your grandchildren and my grandchildren look like me and look like you. So they're going to have a problem still 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 60 years from now. They're going to have to proceed with caution because the tragedies that are happening today against Black people, African Americans, is still going to exist. Okay. In conjunction with what Buck was just saying about, other intelligence coming forward, I saw a scientific report myself that said that they now have a whole committee, subcommittee put together to investigate all of the UFOs that they have been looking at in the sky and would not even admit existed. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was all over the news, but most of those are drones. Everybody knows that now.
Okay, well, but it plants the seed in people's minds that we're not alone, in this universe. But are those things that we're looking at in the heavens powerful enough to make us on the earth get some get right? Because we need some get right.
But I don't know. I think we spend way too much time trying to predict the future, Ron. Just personally, like every news story, they're always bringing in some sort of expert and tell us what this means. Tell us what's going to happen. It's like, are you a psychic or something? Is that what you're trying to do? Why are you trying to predict the future all the time? We really don't know what the future is going to hold. Never. And think about this. They were talking about the stock market took a dive yesterday or today or yesterday. It's like, yeah, but it's 31,000. The Dow is at 31,000. Remember just 10 years ago, they were like, oh, it'll never get above 20,000. Remember? You just don't know what the future is going to hold. And I just tend to be a little bit more positive about the future, that maybe we're going through some sort of, I don't want to say renaissance, but some sort of period now where it's getting bad. But I think it's going to get bad before it gets better, but I do think it's going to get better because I think that the people with the old way of thinking, like us, some of us more than others, Ron. I think that once we're gone, people of another generation may not be thinking in the same way that we think, especially about race. I think that over time, I think that things will start to change, especially as it'll be a lot more difficult to tell who's what race because there's so much interracial mixing. Probably not as much as in Chicago or even here down south, but in a lot of parts of the country and the world, there's a lot more interracial mixing going on, and that's not a bad thing.
Right, but this knucklehead that shot the people in Buffalo, he's 18.
Yeah,
so again,
and I think a little nuts too, and that's we're talking about mental health.
Right.
I think that we really need to start paying attention to mental health because, listen, there are a lot of racist people, but there are not a lot of racist people who are doing stuff like that. That's a difference. He didn't do that stuff because he's racist. He did that stuff because he's freaking crazy.
Well, see, now we're going to apples and oranges because the fact that these certain people are kind of smart because look at the premeditation. You look at the fact that you're filming the whole thing, you're racist off the get-go, and you want to make sure you want to dominate the situation because you specifically drove to a place where black people are to kill black people. So when you look at the game plan that most people have, give you on the flip side, most cops who get into a situation where they kill a person, their go-to line is "I fear for my life."
Yeah.
And then you have internal investigation come in and everything else. That's usually the go-to line and the go-to
Well, they have to say
situation
that
do.
though. They have to say that though. to
Right, but my
protect
point is
CYA.
exactly, and right, and so that happens. So who's to say on the flip side that these people who go out and kill people don't have a game plan too? If I get caught, I'm going to plead the fact I'm on suicide watch. I'm going to play crazy. See, we haven't got to the point about him being exact for psych yet. We haven't got that part yet for him being examined. But my point is, they have a game plan too when all this is happening. So go by what Dr. Ron said. He wasn't shot. He wasn't killed. He wasn't maimed. They went right. So that type of thing. So again, we look at the fact that had he been black, we'd be a whole different situation.
Well, it's white privilege, obviously, yeah.
Right. So my point of all this is that when these things happen over and over and over again, we're going back to Jesus being hanged just by being black, being killed, Emmett Till, and the names of Trayvon Martin is two main lists of people to name.
Yes.
That have been killed because of just who they were, just trying to walk the earth like anybody else. So my point is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Jesus was killed and he didn't do Nathan.
Yeah.
Well, see, you want to go to the ultimate point. There you go. So when you look at what I look at, I'm not speaking for anybody else, of course, myself. When I look at the future, it bothers me because look at the past, look at the present, and then look what it can be down the road because there is no changes when it comes to us. We're not going to change us, but the people out there who have the power to destroy us do it on a daily basis, and that's what bothers me.
Okay, let me throw this out there. I was talking to my son today, and he was on his route. He lives in Tennessee, and he had an encounter on his job with one of the places where he stopped to make a delivery and pick up things.
What kind of route is it?
He works for a company that sells uniforms, rugs, shop towels, things like that. So he drops off stuff and he picks up stuff from the customers every week because they rent those things. You know, they lease them or they rent them, whatever. So he had a situation today where one of the Karens, as he calls her, called the police on him. You know, and he was explaining to me where he stayed there, what he had to do to make sure the police did not, you know, cause a manhunt to go after him, you know, because when he left the scene or he left that delivery spot, she could have said anything she wanted to say if he wasn't there to clarify and justify what the situation was. Now, he was absolutely doing nothing wrong. He's just doing his job. And he got into it with the lady. So after he got through explaining to me, now my son is 30 years old. I ain't talking about no teenager. I'm talking about a 30-year-old grown person with a child of his own. And he just trying to make a living, making deliveries, picking up and things of that nature. And I had to tell him, I said, son, you're in Tennessee. You know, you're going into what he said to me was a very, you know, racist, prejudiced area. And they stuck the only black person in the company on this route. Okay. And then he had to turn this route into a moneymaker, which he did because they get paid off of the receipts, you know, the count, what the recount turns out. I said, son, let me hurry up and straighten you out. You are behind enemy lines and you need to understand this. Everywhere you go, they're going to be looking at you why you got this job. You know, why you making money? Why you coming in here doing anything in my section of the woods? Okay?
Enemy lines.
Yes, sir. Tennessee, brother. Tennessee. Okay. And they got more racists and act like racists every day down there because they don't want you coming in there doing business with them. They don't like you. And they let you know that they don't like you. Now, these are words that my son communicated to me. Okay, I'm not making this up. I'm dealing with firsthand information.
All right.
So, and by my son, being a person that likes to play video games, okay, I just used something that was familiar to him, okay, to make a teachable moment out of this. Okay. He plays, Battle Call of Duty, whatever y'all got them games, not y'all personally, but people out play video games. I don't know the names of the title, but I'm just,
Red Theft Auto.
I'm just letting him know that you're in a hostile environment, you're behind enemy lines, and if any chance they can make an example out of you, they will. So you have to be on your P's and Q's and be alert at all times. Don't go to thinking that these people are cool with you because you come in their shop every week, bringing their, clean linen and taking away their dirty linen. Do not think that they like you. Do not think that they won't set you up for a situation that could be deadly towards you.
Some of them might like him, Ron. He might be likable.
But you know what? There's more that don't like him that do. And I want him on his guard at all times. It's just like when I step out the door in Chicago, or I live in the suburbs, so I ain't got that problem as much as others. But if I go to the city of Chicago, my head is on the swivel because they got lots of criminal activity going on in the city of Chicago that I need to be aware of if something is going down so I can take evasive action. Okay? And that's just being aware and alert. And that's all I'm trying to tell him. Okay?
That's a Star Trek term right
alert.
there. Evasive action, Mr. Smooth.
Yeah, I knew you would catch that.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm making is we have to be more conscious of our environment because we are products of our environment. No matter where you grew up at, you carry that with you everywhere you go through life.
Yeah, but people are a little bit more what's the word? Isolated nowadays. A lot of people spend more time by themselves. They're on the phones, they're in their cars, but they're not really interacting with people. They're not putting themselves in those sort of situations as much as they had to, I guess, at some point in the past. Now, your son may be different because, his job is to interact with the public, but, there are a lot of people who don't really even have any kind of social contact with people, like real contact in person, like all day. There are a lot of people now, like Mike gets out because he's driving for Uber or whatever. And so, he gets to touch people or I don't know if are you touching people, Mike? But but I'm saying there are a lot of people who really don't get any kind of interaction like that. I think the world is becoming, and maybe that's what will change. Chris, maybe that's what I was saying earlier, that things may change because people may be isolated and not really have that kind of interaction anymore over the long run. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be. But I just don't think it's going to be as bad as we think it is.
Newsflash: that young man drove 3 hours to Buffalo and killed 10 people.
He's crazy, dude. He's crazy.
Is it 10? Is it 10, Chris? Did more people die? 10 or 12 people.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
There
10
were
died, 13 shot.
Thank you.
By a crazy man.
And
boy
did not expect that. They were in the grocery store. Some of the backstories on some of the people that were in this grocery store were there buying food to feed the homeless in their community. They were there to do things that they felt that they could be a contribution to their community. And this person, not that they were not aware of their environment, but they never saw it coming. Right. And the point that I'm making is 50, 60 years from now, I cannot afford to tell my grandchildren that they've got a luxury or things are going to get better or things are better.
And if they don't, guess what? If they don't, your grandkids will adapt.
But adapting and surviving is two different things, brother.
Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, look at other examples like the whole thing with Kyle Rittenhouse. His damn mama drove him
Yes.
Yeah.
from
True.
Illinois to Wisconsin.
True.
Crazy.
Yeah,
So
he's
anybody-
crazy, but the mother's crazy. He couldn't even get behind the goddamn wheel to drive.
So it don't take but one crazy person a week.
We get him, Mike. On the GDs. Get him on the GDs, please.
No, don't get me because I'm hot. I'm pissed because
Okay.
because I'm upset for the fact that I fear for my grandson's life down the road.
Yes. Be afraid.
Yeah. I know. And listen, I'll admit that my perspective might be a little different because I don't.
No, but
have
I
kids or
respect it and
grandkids.
admire that. I want to think positive, but the reality is negative. That's where we are right now when it comes down to this.
Yeah, but
No.
you never know what's going to happen in the future. You never
Yeah,
know what the
I
future's
like
gonna hold.
what Katrina said. You know, she said they need to know how to survive, not just avoid it.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. But I just think that things are going to get better, and I think they're going to adapt.
And that's wishful thinking, and I ain't mad at you for that. You
I'm
know,
positive. I'm
yeah,
a positive person, Ron.
that's wishful thinking, bro.
Positive person.
And you know, what was that? Follow the yellow brick road.
Oh, Yellow Brick Road.
you know, we
Ease on
don't know-
down, ease on down the road.
Yeah, okay. You can have in your heart, all the good intentions you want. But if you get one person a week that like you giving that little crazy sign in the head, one person a week, that decides that he wants to be crazy this week. What does that
Something's
lead
gonna
up to? Look, we've been having a history of mass murders and massacres for a while now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're
we
surviving.
still give them a diagnosis. Oh yeah, they're just crazy.
But we're still
What if-
surviving. We're still
But
here.
what if it's you, Buck? What if it's
Society-
your mother?
It's my time. It's my time or her time. I
But
mean,
do-
I'll be sad. I'll be sad and
but
probably
do
mad.
Do you want that type of mentality circulating in the hemisphere to make your time come sooner due than necessary? Come
Well,
on
then,
now.
but hey, if we're gonna sit up here, not necessarily we, because I'm not, but if we're gonna sit up here and say all this, then Ron, what is your solution, bro?
To make my son and my grandchildren aware of the dangers that lurk outside the door.
And then what's that gonna do? What are you gonna teach them to do? Carry
I'm
their own
going
gun
to-
so they can kill the guy back?
Well, there's a
I
whole
don't know.
campaign for that too. Some people feel like Mike is shaking his head. There's a campaign that feels like, oh, give everybody a gun and the crime will go down. There's a whole
No,
bunch of people.
No,
that
it's
feel
not
like
about giving everybody a gun. That's not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
You personally should want your own means of protection.
Mm-hmm.
There's a constitution and rules out here that make it possible for you to have what we call equal rights.
Right. And there's some countries that are like that where
We
everybody's
ain't
got
talking
a
about
gun.
some countries, we talking about the United States.
No, but I'm saying there are countries that are proven that when everybody's got a gun, the crime is a lot lower.
Well, it's
There's
not
something to
about
say about that.
everybody having a gun. It's about when it's necessary, if you feel that you need that level of protection. Until y'all take up all my time from 20 minutes ago. And I'm going to find each and every one of y'all 120. Wait a
Look,
minute.
well,
If
tell you
your
what,
internet stuff-
you ain't finding my ass. The next half
It's
hour
already
is yours.
done. If you check your
Yeah.
checking account,
I ain't
I've
checking a
already
damn
taken-
thing. I ain't checking shit.
Well, you
The
need
next
hey,
half
you need to,
hour is yours, Mike Love.
you need to take you need
And
to
he's
take
talking
that
about
money
finding
and get
people.
some
He ain't
better
finding-
internet.
You ain't finding nobody. Look, man,
Now-
the next half hour is Mike Love's. You ain't finding nobody, Doc.
See, y'all see how they do me? See how they do me? See how they do me? I let
Fine.
them ride for 20 minutes. They went 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Well,
the
now,
next half
let's
hour is
pick
yours.
Let's pick up with the point I was making until, you know, and all of y'all made good points. Mr. Bass, will you show that picture that I asked you to share with our esteemed audience?
Sure.
This picture right here is a picture of a guy shooter. I'm not going to reference his name because he doesn't deserve to have any reference to his name. And the other two people whose faces have been blurred out must either be friends or family members. Maybe it's his little brothers. I don't know who it is. But the other two are his parents. And the level of responsibility for anyone, we've talked about grandkids and what we gonna do for the grandkids. We got to get our kids together before we start talking about the grandkids. He's sitting on this picture looking like a straight punk ass whisk.
I don't even want to look at him.
Look at the picture.
I see him. I see that. I don't want to look at him.
He can't even look in the camera.
I don't even want to look at him.
Okay, we ain't asking you to look at him. I'm speaking from my commentary.
I got you.
And he looks like a straight up whisk. He can't even look into the camera. The first thing we need to do is stop addressing him as a white supremacist. He's a
what?
Yeah, you got to wait a minute. You got to repeat that. You froze up, bro.
Yeah,
you froze up. Please repeat that.
Up.
Yeah.
Punk ass kid.
Thank you.
Punk ass kid. We giving him too many titles. We're giving him too much press, and we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing in order to look at how we got 13 African Americans shot, 10 murdered in Buffalo, New York. I want media who are investigating this case to start asking questions first and foremost about his parents. Now, the little information that we've gathered so far, according to law enforcement sources, the FBI is interviewing his parents, and the teen, because they say the white supremacist teen, I'm not giving him that badge. He doesn't deserve it. Both of his parents are civil engineers with the State Department of Transportation, and supposedly they're cooperating with investigators. Now, once again, the mistake are giving him too much power. I don't give a damn if he wrote a 128-page, what do you call it?
Manifesto.
A manifesto.
Right.
Explaining why, the who, what, when, where. His ass should have been executed on the spot. Why a guy that was a licensed, and I'm not blaming him, security guard, a law enforcement officer, didn't shoot him in the head instead of shooting into his body armor.
Do we have to continue looking at this picture? Just saying. I agree. I don't want to see. I don't want.
You can take
close
the
your
picture
eyes.
down.
It's up to
Good
Mike.
idea. You know what?
Yeah, you can take the
Good
picture
idea.
down.
Okay, there you go.
But the reason that I wanted that picture, because here he's a kid. And that's the point that we're not, and you guys, I mean, I'm just giving y'all the shit because I can. But the whole thing is, we kept, you guys worked your way into this thing about grandkids. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of sick of people talking about grandkids all the time. Women out here, I got to take care of the grandkids. I got to do these grandkids. What about your kids? Because your children are in power right now. All of us have kids that I know amongst this panel outside of Buck that's in their 30s. It's time for parents to be parents And we need to be worrying about making sure that I know what they are supposed to do before we jump over them and take over the responsibility of parenting their children. It's got to stop. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about it. I got grandkids. I love grandkids. I think my grandmother used to give me anything I wanted. If you know, when I was a fat kid. One of the things that made one of the many things that made me fat was I like pork chops.
Uh-oh.
And but I could go over my grandmama's house and she would make me some pork chops. And my mom would fuss at her. He don't need no pork chops. He don't need no fat food. He needs to be, wearing we don't want him doing anything I ask my grandmother for. Grandma used to save. They used to have a passbook. That's an old term for a savings account. She used to put money in her passbook account. And the week of Christmas, we would get on the bus and go to downtown East St. Louis, Illinois, and she'd buy me toys. A grandmother's love can never be replaced. But a mother's love is the level of responsibility. We got women out here who are just having children by men they don't even love. And then when this kid gets out here and he starts breaking the law, she's got no one to go to because he don't even want to be bothered with you, yet alone his children. He don't even know his own kids because he doesn't have a relationship with you. And I'm not blaming mothers. I'm not going after women. But what I'm saying is, how did we get a generation that took us away from parenting? And it's got to stop. Those people that was on that picture are responsible for everything he did in Buffalo, New York. And they can't freaking run from it, as far as I'm concerned. I can't speak for Dr. Ron. I can't speak for Chris Bates. I can't speak for Buck Wild. That's some bullshit right there. I watched all the news channels, MSNBC, Fox, CNN, and even the local channels, they just sitting there regurgitating over again. We need to be outside that boy's house demanding that this parents come out here and tell us who this kid is. Not the white supremacist that we're painting. He ain't no freaking white supremacist. He's a punk ass kid. And you're responsible for him, parents. Ain't no damn way you gonna be on the earth for only 18 years and you know how to hate another race of people. You can barely wipe your ass. I looked at him on that picture. Put that picture up again, if you please.
Hold on.
Or whoever is running control.
Hold on.
I just want you to look at his facial expression.
Close your eyes, Buck. I know Buck don't want to see
They
you.
are closed now.
Hold on.
I want you to look at his facial expression. He's up.
Okay, Chris.
Oh, goodness. I opened them again.
No, it's up now.
Give me a little nap.
Mike?
There you go.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah.
Look at his face. Just for 10 seconds. Just look at his face. He isn't even looking into the camera. He has no interest.
No.
Mom's down there. So, it's a great take our picture. Dad's up here. He's proud of what? They gave birth to a murderer. You could take the picture.
All right.
Yeah, we don't know how old that picture is, but still, he was not interested.
That damn picture
is. Well, I mean, like I'm saying, he's not interested, in what's going on. That's for sure.
All I wanted to show was his parents. guns.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where we're having a problem in this country. And probably around the world. But there are
Mm-hmm.
other races and other cultures that still keep family in a different place than we do.
Mm-hmm.
We got mothers out here trying to be like their daughters. No, you got to train them up. You got to teach them. You got to lead by example. It's critical. Don't go get a gun because you can go get a gun. Go register. Go to a gun range and learn how to shoot. That's right. Hate is a learned behavior. I ain't letting them off the hook. They can sit there and look like they June and Ward Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver if they want to. That's some straight ass bullshit. Maybe somebody else. Maybe he joined the group. I don't know. On a picture with his parents, he ain't happy. You know why? Because they're not parenting. I can't tell you what to do with your children, with your grandchildren, because you can't tell me what to do with mine. But I will tell you this. Love starts at home, in the house. That's where love starts, in the house. Every picture that they showed of those people looked like they had on their Sunday go to church clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Them people didn't deserve to die.
No.
They didn't deserve to die. Because you were irresponsible for raising your child. You can't blame this on nobody else. You cannot blame this on anyone else. That's where I want to see him start, and that's where I want to see him finish. Now, he's 18. They're not going to send their parents to jail, but the parents need to suffer the same way the families who got to bury their loved ones are suffering right now. See what that feels like. See what that feels like. That's what you need to do. You see what that feels like. That's what you need to do. He's sitting up in here pleading. His attorney is pleading not guilty. Yeah, you know what he's not guilty of? Being fucking responsible. The parents not guilty of being responsible.
That's right.
His parents should be on television saying, we went wrong somewhere. His parents should be on TV apologizing to these families. Damn it. Apologize to these families. Everybody on, they showed them people, 80% of them people was in their 60s. Mm-hmm. I don't know who said it. Was it Ron or was it Chris that talked about this store, Tops, was a store that was put in the Black community so they could have fresh food, fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, they were in a food desert before that. Yeah.
Right, they was in a food desert. This wasn't Kroger. This wasn't Save Mart. This store was here because it couldn't get the big franchises in that area. And you hop your fat ass in your car and drive 200 or 300 miles because you gonna prove something, your little video game varmint. Ain't nothing wrong with video games. Everybody should learn how to have fun with whatever we have before us. Register to vote. If you feel you need protection in your home, don't go ask Jabbo, do he have a gun to give you? Go find out what it takes to register to get you a gun. Or a firearm, should I say. I'm a Costco fanatic. They sell firearm safes. Because you probably got children around your house. Go get you a safe. Put your firearms in there. If you hear motherfucking noise in the background, go put the code in. D, 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 D. And let these people know we ain't having it. It's our fault our children are getting hurt because my mom and dad had no interest in being nothing like me. Nothing. Mama and daddy. That's all they cared about. All they cared about was being my parents. I'm sorry I'm being emotional, but
No,
every
it's
time I
okay.
see them damn people, 50, 60-year-old people killed because some little smart ass fucking kid decided that he gonna show the world and have nerve enough to tape it. You wanted to tape it and show your little friends. I know what Twitch is. I'm on Twitch. Twitch is a program to share your video game war games. It's okay if you're responsible. I'm on a show with 3, 4, 5 other responsible human beings. We all parents. And if we're not parents, we got parents. We've all worked in large markets and been in radio and media. And we have to be responsible for everything we do. Nobody lets us on the air without being responsible. See, we can't do nothing to take up for anybody else who's lost their lives, but we can be a voice. I don't want to control the gunners. I have no interest in controlling the gunners. The gunners need to know that I may not stand with you, but I got what you got legally. We gotta stop playing these silly ass games. And we gotta get down to business so they'll think twice before they run up into a supermarket and go and attack, because somebody may be in that supermarket with a gun. I've seen people open carrying in Walmart. I saw the pistol grip hanging out the back of the guy's pants. Nobody say anything. But everybody knew whoever he was, and I mean he wasn't a public figure, but everybody that saw him knew you ain't gonna mess with him. Wasn't nobody gonna mess with him. Let's get real, people. Street News Now is not a show just because we don't have nothing to do. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning. I'm tired. Buck Wild works as a imaging voiceover production company. He's been producing and talking all day. Dr. Ron has been reading and studying and handling business all day. Chris is a newsman and production specialist. We all busy. Our fearless leader, Lee Michaels, he's just like me, got 3 or 4 damn jobs. Reggie Miles, he's an educator. He's a single dad right now. We all got responsibilities, but it's no excuse for us not to take on the responsibilities that God has given us. And the first part of that is to protect ourselves, protect our family. Stop falling for the okie doke. I want to hear what this boy's parents, this boy's parents need to be on, even if he's a grown man at 18, right? I think a woman is at 21. Have we seen anything that them parents went on and apologized for him, even if they can't speak for him? Did they say we are so sorry?
Have they said anything?
Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
they haven't had a press conference at all.
Right.
You know, they've been avoiding public contact at this point.
Right.
You
Big
know,
surprise.
yeah,
And I
and
mean, I understand some of it is legalities.
right,
I get that. But at the same time, God gave all of us a heart. Everybody's got a ticking heart in their body.
yeah. Something went wrong with his upbringing a long time ago,
Damn right.
and like you said, Mike, you know, and I can understand your passion because it is a hurting thing when we have such great loss in our communities on this level, and the person that's standing there is trying to act oblivious like he ain't did nothing,
Right.
you know, and his parents are trying to avoid, you know, any type of responsibility. They could have made a statement,
Right. Even if they
you
had to
know.
have a PR company do it, say something.
Yeah. And it's probably forthcoming. You know, this thing is still under investigation. It's still a lot to be to be uncovered, you know, about this whole scenario, but it brings out so much pain, you know, and we need to understand, you know, and realize that this type of pain exists in the hearts of man in so many different ways, in so many different places. You know, never be sorry. The aftermath is something that can't be comprehended. Trauma never goes away, it changes. Thank you, Mike. It needs to be undug. The root of the problem can't be healed if we just keep kicking dirt on it.
Amen.
The responsibility doesn't feel good, but it is necessary. I just thank you all for doing this after all else. Like Mike said, we all have our hustle to deal with. First, that pretty much uses up all we have in the tank.
That's right.
Yeah,
Jed.
thank you, Jed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
thank you.
Jed.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's going to be a pain for a while. I saw Katrina mentioned in one of her comments that she knew two of those people.
Yeah.
You know, I saw her say that, you know. LT said, I personally think his parents aren't saying anything because the apple does not fall far from tree. I'm with you there.
Or they're embarrassed.
I don't expect.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't expect his parents to say anything. I think like LT is saying that they had to put those seeds inside of him in order for him to be able to allow those seeds to grow. I'm with LT on that
Well,
one.
it's like what Mike just said. If he's a punk ass, then the parents are punk asses.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. They may not have ever called anybody a nigga.
Exactly.
But the fact of the matter is, like I said, look at his face on that picture. Now,
we got about real quick. Got about 11 minutes left in the program, but I want to bring on our other brother in broadcasting, but Professor Reggie Miles.
There he is.
All right.
look, you call his name and he shall appear.
Don't you call my name.
Reggie Miles.
Yes, sir.
I call your name whenever I feel like it because
Yes,
we all love each other.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
and that's a great thing, man.
Dr. Ron.
Yes, sir.
Chris Bay.
Y'all
been
talking. Y'all been talking deep,
y'all don't
man.
understand something about street news now. This is love right here.
Yeah.
This ain't nothing that love.
Oh, absolutely. Y'all been talking some deep stuff. I'm kind of glad I wasn't here. because
you just wanted to avoid that fine that I imposed on every damn body that I don't even have the right to do.
All
I
right.
know, right?
Yeah. How you doing, Professor? How you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. I'm
Good,
wonderful.
good,
You know, and base knows this, you know, just as well as anyone. You know, going in and out and battling grief. That's
hard, man.
That's a battle, man.
Woo!
Yes, it is.
You know, that's a battle. You know, you mother, okay, father, okay, child, okay, wife. You know, that's a different one, man.
Come on.
That's a different one. And so, and I mean, I was doing real good, right? And then I touched the teapot. I touched the teapot, and I'm hearing in my head, you know, I'm hearing this woman say, "Reggie, make me some tea." And at that moment,
don't take much.
Yeah, and at that one particular moment, I'd have gave anything to make her some tea. And I wailed, I yelled out, I wailed, I yelled out, I wailed. The daughter came in there and she saw me holding the teapot. And she said, "I know, Daddy." She said, "I know, Daddy."
Woo!
And that's where it was. And it was just going back and forth, in and out from that point on. But the one thing that I will say that's been really cool, you guys, my broadcast buddies, the stepping community, everybody has been like, they've been, whoa, check this. I mean, people who I haven't talked to in years. Dude, are you all right? Can we talk? Let's talk about it. Dude, call me up. Let's just talk about it. If you feel like you're getting ready to cry, let's talk about one of them old memories. Let's go through this here together. And so that's been a wonderful thing. That's been a wonderful thing. But you know, whew, oh God.
We love you, brother.
Sometimes, you know, I wish I could just get into it and engage. But, you know, sometimes I just don't. I mean, I just want to just go ahead on and live and, you know, be for that baby girl in there.
That's right.
But, you know, that's all.
Hey, Reggie, I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Always and forever, we're gonna be there for you, brother.
Hey,
my man.
Amen.
Heat wave. You brought another song, man. That's heat wave, man.
Look, that's why I called him out. I was like, I know he'll appreciate that.
He pulling one of my moves. So next week, you know, I'll be down in St. Louis.
Okay.
And the Friday, I'll be making a presentation on stepping. Okay. But you know something? Listen, it's two things about our people, right? They thrive on BS. And then they always like run from, you know, where they've been. So I've decided that, you know, I'm not going to tell them, no, it's not history. It's a love story. And everybody loves a romantic novel. You know, and it's going to be, it reminds me of the movie, what you call that movie with Tay Diggs and Sanaa Lathan, where he talking about hip hop. What was the name of that?
Right.
Love and Basketball?
Yeah.
Brown Sugar.
No, Brown Sugar. Yeah. When they say, well, when did you fall in love with stepping? So that's like the question that I'm going to put out. But this is how I'm going to just lay it. I'm going to be slick with it, you know. I'm going to just say, look, once you call yourself and once you, just like us right now, and just like you guys said, and this is like the perfect time, we're all broadcasters, right? And we've all proclaimed each other as family and brothers. And that's the same thing I'm going to tell them, you know, because all the barriers that y'all got up, they artificial. Because once you make the proclamation of being like we are broadcasters, you know, we bounded by a certain code. And that code comes out on us every week. Every week. It's just straight up love. Even when we don't agree, the love still come. The love still just cakes and smooth it out. You know, because it hasn't all been perfect what we do. It hasn't been perfect, but that doggone love, you know, the family, those kind of things that we have still make us push through and persevere with what we got to do. Because the mission is really greater than all 5 of us together.
Yes.
It's all purpose.
Yeah, the purpose.
That's right.
You know, so we got a lot to do, man, because it's a lot of mayhem coming up. Them elections and all this kind of stuff is coming up, and people trying to talk us out of not exercising our right to vote, and then trying to confuse us with how we want to do this kind of stuff. And so we got to be the gatekeepers, and as Aaron Neville says, tell it like it is.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, sir. Preach, brother. Preach. Yes,
right.
sir.
Amen and a women.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. He says it
And
all
he said
the time.
and he said it in his WLS voice.
Yeah, he says it all the time.
I say all the time. Right?
Yeah, he says it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, bass, I'm getting ready to get me that black mic.
Are you gonna get it? Oh man.
I'm gonna get
welcome
that
to the
black
club,
mic.
doctor.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that black mic. You
All
know,
right,
I was go ahead on and get the RD20, but now I'm gonna go on and get the black mic. You know, I'm gonna be militant.
That black one is the RE20. He's got the RE. That's RE2. But hey, let me tell you, the station I work at, they've got all RE320s, the first black ones, and they sound great. They sound great. You just go to YouTube and get a comparison between the two, and you'd be surprised. The RE20 may sound a little bit better to you.
Well, you know,
the 320.
You know, when I like do comparisons with the mic,
and it's cheaper.
Then, even with the sound checks and stuff like that, you know, I'm gonna look at the specs. You know, I'm gonna look at the specs and the polar pattern, you know, and things like that, and see if it's good for my range where I'm good at.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. That one's
the 320 is cheaper than the 20.
Oh, okay. Well, the 20 is like the professional one, like what the like color you got. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the old work.
But Bass got the same one. It's just his is black.
Yeah, it's the same microphone. The one's black.
Yeah, isn't yours a 20 Bass?
Yeah, RE20.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm
talking about. But the 320 looks just like well, this is like both of ours, but it's a shiny. It's a shinier black. And it's what, almost $200 cheaper, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, when
sounds good too.
As my uncle once told me, you got to pay the cost to be the boss.
Boom.
Hey. Yeah, he ain't worried. Look, he ain't worried about no money, none whatsoever. Yeah.
No, that's no. I ain't rich, but I'm blessed though.
There you go.
Okay.
And as long as you blessed, anything that you speak out of your mouth shall come to pass.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to start my gospel show on June 6th. You know, prayerfully, you know, that'll be on my late wife's birthday. And I'm going to get back into the tune of doing that early morning gospel stuff.
Save some souls. Go ahead.
Congratulations, man. That's good.
The weekends are rolling. Man, I gotta, you know, that scripture that says a prophet is without honor in his own land.
Yes,
I got the East Coast. I mean, they love me on the East Coast playing them Dusty Saturday night because I'm just a straight up wow, man. I got it so that I could just play. I can go to another affair and come in and do 2 hours and everybody cool. They waiting on me because this interactive thing now with playing music and then people can chat at the same time. That's really something else. That's really nice. That's really
well,
cool.
You know, you worthy of that and more, my brother.
Absolutely.
You know, they don't make movies about people that ain't worthy to make movies about.
Amen.
You know, and Reggie was one of the DJs that they spoke about in the Steppin' Community Legends movie. What was the name of the movie, Reggie?
I forgot.
I forgot.
I forgot. I mean, that was.
I'm in it, but I forgot.
That was a couple of years. I forgot that. And as a matter of fact, I actually talked to the producer yesterday.
Okay.
We actually talked on the phone, but I forgot.
Oh.
Look, man, I forgot. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. The only thing that's been coming back to me right now is the old songs, right? Is the old songs, because I went on a tirade with Isaac Hayes. I just don't know what to do with myself. Oh man, that thing sounded so good to me. I played that. Doom, 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 doom. Ike was something else.
Yes, he was.
Wasn't nothing to play with.
Yeah.
Man, I just don't know what to do with myself.
Just as a point of reference, wasn't he the first rapper?
Well, as far as them songs is concerned, but then again, you can go in the gospel realm, and then you could say Eugene Smith was the first rapper too, because they used to have them stories when they would go into them long songs. But as far as the rappers of maybe of today, what they say probably the first
James Brown.
Well, not really.
No, nobody could rap you out like Isaac Hayes could.
Yeah,
Isaac Hayes, boy, will put you in the place, boy.
But James Brown
like
band,
Jesus.
but the James Brown band was bad.
The first poetic rappers to me that came right alongside of Gil Scott Heron and them cats was the Last Poets.
I knew where you was going. Yeah,
you know, that was the Last Poets, and you just have to check them out. And we used to see the Last Poets right on 63rd Street at the because the brothers would come out there and they would have them congos, and you know, cats would be doing their thing, but they weren't rapping, but they were definitely jamming them drums.
Yeah,
you know,
like on Rainbow Beach.
Yeah,
Rainbow Beach.
And the Last Poets, the Last Poets took it to another level.
Yep.
They took it to another level. That first album is still classic, you know.
Yep, that's the only album one. They only had two, right?
They only had two, but the first one, the blue and the red. I mean, not the blue and yellow. That was really cool. That was really good. And I think one of the members just recently died. Yeah, I think he just
good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, man.
Well, man, always is more than my honor to be with the brothers in broadcasting, the masters of intellectual chaos. We do this every Thursday evening. Catch us at 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 p.m. Central Time, and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Go to your YouTube channel and type in SNN Street News Now. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. For Dr. Ron Ford, for Mike Love, for Professor Reggie Miles, for Buck Wild, and for our fearless leader, Lee Michaels, Chris Bates with you. Continue to be peaceful. Before we go, Professor, give us a strong good night as we get out of here.
Good night.